I'm Colum Lowe from the Design Age Institute.
And I'm George Lee, and I work with Colum.
The Design Age Institute was set up to become the National Strategic Unit for Design and the Healthy Ageing Economy, where he'd try to use the power of design to help people live longer, healthier, happier lives. And we have a variety of partners, one of which is the Design Museum, who we're delighted to be working with. They're our dissemination partner. They will be helping us work with communities, showcase some of our work, and hopefully do a bit of co-design and co-creation with communities and the public as well.
So Colum, I've got a couple of questions that I want to ask of you, and I think hopefully the guys out who are going to be watching this will be really interested in it. So what is inclusive design?
Two words there. Design for me, for us, is a structured process by which you make products and services useful, usable and desirable. Those three things I think are important. And desirable, not least of the three, but maybe most of the three. And you can talk about co-design and co-creation, which we've talked about, which is involving as many people as possible in terms of user groups and stakeholders in that process. And inclusive design is making sure everything is designed to think about as many of the needs of as many people as possible, without it actually being designed for disability or accessibility or special needs.
And if we think about ageing, if we think, and it's something hopefully we're all doing, and we're going to have a much longer life, how important is design in the mix of helping us live longer, healthier and more joyfully?
Yeah, I take a fairly polarised view of design. I work on the principle that if something has been created by people, it's been designed by people. Nothing came out of being of nothing. There must have been a problem, somebody tried to solve it, they brought something into being. So I take it that everything has been designed, it's just a lot of it has been designed badly. And the truth is we tend not to notice really good design, we tend not to notice inclusive design, we tend to notice bad design.
Absolutely, and I mean, we've had many conversations about the products and the services out there which are good examples of inclusive design. As you said, a lot of them are invisible, but I'm just wondering whether you could sort of like maybe share a couple of examples of what you think are good examples.
Yeah, the two things I talk about, probably nobody sat down and thought, today I'm doing a piece of inclusive design, but they've been through so many design iterations to make them as good as possible that they have become inclusive design. And one of my favourite is the tablet computer. When I started my career, there weren't any computers in the workplace or in people's homes, and we had to adjust to this new thing that came in, this box of technology, and you had to be an expert to use it, and therefore it stayed just for experts working on AutoCAD and the likes. But slowly it's had various iterations through personal computers, laptops, and then its final iteration as the tablet computer. It has become something that is really very inclusive. Almost anybody can pick it up and understand how to undertake basic functions and achieve things like make a call, send an email, look at the diary, book something online, to the point where you see 2-year-olds now, first thing they do when they see a screen is they flick it, they swipe, because they've kind of got the usability. And the other one I like is because the actual designer of it has been lost in the annals of history, is the wire loop needle threader, which was designed sometime in the 1850s, 1870s, and all it does is simply help you thread a needle, and that sounds stupid, but back in 1870s, a lot of people made all their living from threading needles and sewing, and as you age and you get macular degeneration, it becomes nearly impossible. But this teeny wee thing that helps you thread a needle is something that we all find useful, actually, when we're trying to thread a needle, not just something for people with a visual disability.
But talking about visual disability, we were talking earlier about glasses, and this is something that's become a gazillion billion pound industry, and it's something about how we can express who we are. There is a desire and a delight and a joy in glasses. But I remember back in the years when I was young, disability and eyesight were very sort of like attached to each other. So do you want to sort of like talk a little bit more about that?
Glasses are very interesting that a long time ago there was a stigma attached to wearing glasses when you were younger. And as you aged, more and more people wore spectacles because of macular degeneration and deteriorating eyesight. But these days it's changed, that glasses have become a fashion statement. You get to express your personality through the glasses that you choose. There is no stigma that I know of wearing glasses, to the point that you do get people now almost demanding that they need glasses, whether they do or don't, because they like the aesthetic of wearing glasses. So it's made that transformational journey from a stigmatized product for disability to a fashion statement, to a statement of your personality, to a statement that you buy them because they bring you joy, because you desire them, and that's when you know you've won.
So if we look at some of the other challenges of ageing, and I'm just thinking about sort of like hearing. We know that hearing loss it becomes more of a problem as we age. It doesn't just affect people who are older. Do you think we'll get to a point where we can sort of like have hearing aids will be a similar kind of, I don't know, fashion accessory that
You would like to think so, and I think there are things that are happening in a minute that suggest that it's possible. Because again, certainly 10, 20 years ago, wearing one of those kind of pink boxes round your ear, particularly if your skin wasn't pink, was seen as particularly stigmatizing, and as a great advert for disability, which nobody really wants to advertise by choice. And they are getting smaller and smaller and nearly invisible now, but you still have to remember to put them in and charge them. They've got small batteries, so there's still issues there, but they are getting better. But what we're seeing now is people walking about with AirPods in their ears, whether they're listening to something or not. They're so comfortable, they just sit there all the time, people forget to take them out, and they're not bothered. It's again, look how trendy I am, I've got a thing in my ear. So there's clearly something there that says, yes, that transition from a stigmatizing hearing aid to something that you wear all the time, or nearly all the time, is nearly with us.
And that's really exciting. And I think one of the beauties of good design is it's really good for business as well. And this is the craziness, that just going that little extra mile, just really thinking about the extremes, the margins. It makes life easier for everyone, and it makes it easier for business.
One mustn't forget that at the minute, people who are over the age of 50 hold 70% of all wealth in this country. And that in 10 or 20 years' time, 63 pence in every pound spent will be spent by somebody over 50. This is not only is it a large-ish market, it's the most significant market going forward. And manufacturers and service providers have to find ways to design and deliver products and services that meet their needs. For purely commercial reasons as well as for inclusive reasons.
From your perspective, what are your hopes that will be redesigned or rethought of first? What are your sort of bugbears, I suppose, of what is not working at the moment, and how can we do something about it?
Well, I reckon at the minute 70% of older people are online, and after the COVID-19 pandemic, I'm guessing that's going to get very close to 100%. Are capable of going online and know how to go online. But there aren't enough products and services online for them at this minute in time. So I think there's this whole thing around technology that has the power to transform lives, to provide support if you need it, safety if you need it, entertainment, to break down social isolation, to provide great services and products for people as they age. It's got a great power to do good, and I still think there's not enough being done in that arena to make these products truly useful, truly usable, and above all desirable. So I think technology is the number one thing. And then after that's mobility. It's how to get people who feel trapped in their homes, whose social circles are reducing, how to get them out and about the streets, transport, public places.
Absolutely.
What can be done to encourage that I think is another big field of work.
No, absolutely. Now, I know that with the work that we're all doing at the Design Age Institute, because there's a wide range of very, very diverse projects that we're going to be working on in terms of making better design. But there is one project which I think is the quintessential image of the stereotypes of ageing, the thing which is so stigmatizing, medicalized, negative, it is the walker. Now, it's very exciting. We're taking this challenge on, Colum, aren't we? Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, well, Lady Helen Hammond announced at our launch that she was going to put a 5,000 sort of prize together for designing a better walker. And we've looked at that, and we're going to think, we have a programme of work at the Design Ed Institute called the Pathfinder Projects, where we've got a little bit of funds, a little bit of design resource to give to companies to help them get products to market. So we're going to combine the two things together and try to take on this project, and how do you design a better walker. So it's looking at the usability, how do people actually use it and work with it in their daily lives, are they ergonomically well. It's what uses, because I think they're like any object you've got in your house, it rarely is a single use item.
Yes.
You kind of use it for lots of stuff. Is it fit for purpose? And then the desirability aspect, how do you remove the stigma associated with ownership and use?
Yeah.
And that isn't just about an aesthetic wash, it's about really understanding what people want from it and how they can move away from this utilitarian healthcare, device like a pair of old glasses or pink hearing aid, and turn it into something that people can actually express their personality through and are quite happy to take a bite with them.
So we'll fix that one, and then we'll get onto all the other products and services.
And I take it you're going to feature that on this age thing. Are you going to tell
I
people about that?
Yes, yes. So this age thing. So this is the community, which is attached and sort of working with the Design Age Institute, and I am so delighted to be leading it, I suppose, in many ways, or starting the process off, because we've talked about it, Colum, haven't we? This age thing is, it can be great. Growing older can be a really, really great thing to be. If you've got money, if you've got your health, if you've got relationships, you've got people around you, growing older can be a really, really great thing to do. But also it can be a real challenge if you don't have your health, if you don't have funds, if you don't have a community. So one of the things that we've very, very keen to do is create a community of people who can come together and share their stories of the joys, the positive moments of growing older, so to inspire other people, but also as this community can work together to identify those real problems in life as we age, and how we can then create this lived experience research community to share their insights. And our ambition is that every single person in this country gets involved with this age thing, because we're all getting older, each from the day we're born until the day that we die. So this affects all of us. This is about our future selves, and I know that you're going to talk about this a little bit more shortly. So with this age thing, we want everyone. So I'm talking to everyone out there who's watching this. Go on to thisagething.co and just explore the stories, explore the real sort of changing narrative on aging. It doesn't mean that when you get to 50, it's all decline, it's all downhill. In fact, the stories that we have on there, I mean, they are so inspiring, aren't they? There is a different way of thinking about aging. And this is one of the things that we are going to be doing with the Design Museum. At the moment, because of the situation we've been in, a lot of the stuff we've been doing is online, but we're going to be taking our storytelling programs out into the community, and we're going to be running, we both love this word, don't we, Colum? Wisdom. The wisdom hour. This is about how, as we age, we have a knowledge which comes from making umpteen mistakes in our life, but we have a wisdom which comes with age. And so we're going to be creating these storytelling sessions where people can come and bring objects or around different themes, just to share their experiences of what it really is like getting older, getting away from that medicalised, negative narrative view, and sharing their wisdom experiences. And I know that you're going to come along, and Tim Marlowe are going to come along to some of those sessions, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm excited about the Design for Your Future Self work and exhibitions that are happening at the Design Museum. I love the title. It's when I first started getting involved in design and healthy aging about 30 years ago, 29 years ago, because it is this thing that if we're lucky, we will all grow old.
Yes.
So it's one of those things that will happen to all of us. And therefore, when you're designing and creating and briefing and specifying products and services, you're not doing it for some mythical other person who's maybe 70. It's for yourself in the future.
Absolutely.
It is a selfish act as well,
Yeah.
because really, surely you want your future to be full of inclusive products and services that help you maintain independence and joy in your life.
Absolutely.
And as some things do decline, as you say, wisdom grows. So what do you do with all that experience and
Yes.
excitement and knowledge?
Yeah.
So it is important. So I'm really looking forward to the work that the Design Museum will be doing on that.
No, absolutely. But it is so true. It is about how can you and me, how can all of us find a way of not just making those later years more tolerable, but just making them more joyful. And and Colum, this word joy is so critical to the work that we do, isn't it?
It is, and eventually people are going to tell me I'm overusing it. But
No, never. I will not. It won't come from me.
But I think it's hugely important. You can have health and no joy, and what's that worth?
Yeah.
But if life hasn't got joy in it, then what's the point?
Yes.
So I think for me, everything sits underneath being joyful.
Yeah.
At any age in your life, and how do we create a world around us that helps bring joy into our lives? A little bit of joy every single day.
Absolutely.
I think that's our powerful message. And we're designers. We're not designers of cars or radios. It's more universal thing. We're trying to create a society. And we talk about inclusive design, and this is something we haven't pushed yet too much, but we're looking at. It's not just about products and services, it's also about attitudes, which is why this age thing is important.
Absolutely.
What is an inclusive attitude to aging?
Yes, it really is.
I'm excited to see what this age thing can do around that, changing the attitudes from a negative discussion around aging to a positive discussion, and being inclusive in your mind and what you see around you, not just in the things that we create and put out there.
Absolutely.